What is up, everybody? I am George Mossey. Please say hello to my co-host, Kara. So,
Hi.
Darcey and Stacey, season 4, episode 10 has aired. Now, we have a lot to talk about because Michael Benz is back in Miami, and it's the Impossible Kicks launch, and he is the DJ all the way from LA. And we know that he is the twins' literal unblood brother. Like, he is there to fight all their battles. He is there to make sure that he is taking care of the girls and they are not being mistreated. And he has the idea that Florian has pressured Stacey into becoming the face of House of 11. He feels that it was his doing, his thought process to do this last minute photo shoot and make sure that he was the only model. And he has planted this seed of distrust in Darcey's mind. Now, how do you feel about Michael Benz and him inserting himself in this situation? Because I feel like you have strong feelings about this.
He is so out of line, first and foremost. I get that he wants to be the trusting not brother, but man, he's playing good against bad. It's not a good situation. He is literally trying to play Darcey and Stacey against each other, but he's using Florian as a pawn, and Florian was so kind to do that, spur of the moment, put himself out there, all that stuff. I think he did a great job.
For
And
free, by the way.
yeah, exactly. And he looked good in the clothes. But
Yes.
I feel like Stacey kind of should have been in there too.
Yeah, I agree with you. It should have been male and female because they have a lot of female customers, a lot of people who love that line. So Stacey looked great when she pulled up with him, so she should have put that outfit on too, put those angel wings on and jumped in.
Yep.
So what do you think about this confrontation? So at the Impossible Kicks launch party, Michael Benz pulled Florian to the side and he demanded that he accept responsibility for what he had done. And he also demanded that he apologize to the twins because that he was pinning them against each other and tearing them apart. Now, Florian reacted in his own way. Florian always reacts to Michael in an almost violent way. He's just like, get away. Like, so how do you feel? Do you feel like he handled it the right way? Do you feel like he did? Yeah. Do you think Florian was right?
Florian was great. Michael Benz was out of line, out of place. Like, that was the wrong time to do it. That was the worst time to do it.
Yes.
No confrontation at all. And then again, it created havoc between Darcey and Stacey.
Yeah, so we were watching the drama unfold. So they're trying to sell this line. They have to sell at least 25% of the line to get put in all the stores across the country. And they are actually arguing with each other in front of customers, in front of their fans, in front of the press, and in front of Johnny himself. Like, so I think that this was a horrible time, like you said, to do this. And he's only making things worse. And I know in his mind, he's protecting them, but he's only making things worse. And they have to perform their song and they're having such negative energy and they're trying to perform I'm on top. And it definitely started off very rocky. You can tell the energy was off. And we were watching them and it kind of picked up in the middle, but I feel like this performance was not like last season when they performed do it big. Like, I feel like that performance was full of energy. They were vibing, they were on the right page. But this situation, I think, was probably completely brought on by Michael Benz's snooping, right?
I completely agree with that. He should have never approached Florian ever, in my opinion. But to do it there at that time, that was so wrong. He owes everybody an apology, especially Darcey and Stacey, but he just needs to leave Florian alone. Florian's already made it very clear how he feels about him. And, Florian's only putting up with him for Stacey. That's it.
I see this situation as poking the bear. Yes. Like, I feel like he's continually poking at Florian, and he's eventually going to get Florian to react. Florian has been really good at keeping his cool, not verbally. Verbally, Florian has been beating the crap out of Michael Benz. But physically, Florian has done a really good job of keeping it cool. But that they say you can only continue to poke the bear for so long until the bear reacts. And I think Florian is very, very close to reacting to this situation. So I want to talk about this Zach date. So what do you think about Zach? First impressions, raw impressions. We met him on the episode other than on that FaceTime call. What do you think about Zach?
He is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, he's absolutely gorgeous. But Darcey said he's so my type. He's everything I like. The long hair, the different culture, all that stuff. Well, Jesse didn't have long hair. Tom didn't have long hair. Georgie now doesn't have long hair. She literally went out with Cicero for a skinny minute who had a little bit longer hair. So I've never personally seen her with someone that's got super long hair. So I don't know. He doesn't necessarily, I mean, he's from a different culture. So that maybe that's what she meant, but I don't see him as her type.
Really? I feel like he fits in with the type of guy she dates. I mean, he is born in America, but his parents are from different countries, so I feel like that gives her that exotic feel that she loves to have. She doesn't want, a non-accent. She wants that exotic look, and I feel like brings that.
Right.
But let's talk about the celibacy thing because it brought me back to the Jonas Brothers. I was like, so this guy is not practicing sex, and Darcey's like, well, that's a complete waste of everything. Like, well, why would you want to do that? And he
Yeah.
explained that it makes him stronger, it makes him more convicted and more motivated and dedicated and successful, and all of that's great. But Darcey was like looking at it as, well, how long until I can make him break this celibacy? I
Yeah.
felt like that's how she felt. She's like, well, all I have to do is, unzip my shirt a little bit and, see how we can get this going. Do you feel like that was more of a challenge when she found
Yep.
out that he was celibate?
Like, challenge accepted. Check. And then did her little dance in the restaurant. So yes, she's definitely seeing that as a challenge that she's going to take on.
I mean, I want them to work. I want Darcey to be happy, but
I
I feel like
do.
I feel like she's so into looks. I don't think she gets to know people like, their personalities. It's fast. Like she sees a guy and she's like tingly and she's ready
Yeah.
to and I think that that's great because you need that fire. You need that in a relationship, but you also need to know the person well enough to where you can get along and make it a long-term thing. And I want that for her. And I know you don't want her to end up with Georgie, do you? Or do you want her to end up with Georgie?
I totally want her with Georgie.
So you think that Georgie has his life in order now? Do you feel like
No, I absolutely don't feel like he has his life in order. But I feel like she very much has the internal flame for him. Like, she's trying very hard to put it off and act like I'm strong, I don't need him, he's not getting to me. But every other thing she says is about Georgie. And he is so very much in the forefront of her mind.
the
I
annoyance that she gets at his presence tells me that there's still feelings there. Every
absolutely.
time she physically has to see him, the way that she looks and acts and her tone and voice can tell that she's bothered. And when you're over someone, they can't really get to you anymore. They don't
Right.
bother you. You're not phased. You're just kind of like, that's old news to me. But when he arrives and when he pet her, like, let's talk about the
Yeah.
petting situation. When he pet her at the bachelor party, the beginning of the bachelor party, she's like, please don't pet me. I'm not a
Yeah.
dog. And I feel like she's worried that he's going to do the right thing or touch her in the way or say the right thing. And those feelings are going to ignite and her resistance is finally going to give in. I don't feel like he's annoying her. I feel like she's scared that she's going to fall back into bad habits. Do you feel that
I
way?
think that if given the right opportunity, if they were alone without Stacey and Florian or Michael Benz butting his nose in, I think if they had 5 minutes to talk by themselves, they'd be in bed.
See, I do feel like that. And I do feel like when she broke it off with Georgie, she wasn't ready to break it off with Georgie.
Right.
She did what she thought was the best thing for her because she said it was the most difficult thing she had to decide because she wasn't out of love with him. She
I
wasn't done with him.
do it.
Exactly. She did it because she thought it was the best thing to do for her in that moment. And now I feel like she's having regrets.
Thought it was the best thing for her to do. I think she felt like that's what everyone else thought was the best thing for her to do. And I think she's very much a people pleaser. You can see that. And I think that everybody was putting the pressure on this, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't this, he doesn't that, you're doing everything. And so she was like, yeah, you guys are right. So she did it to appease everyone else. She wasn't out of love with him. She didn't really want that. He actually did give her all the attention that she wanted. He always got her flowers, all of that stuff. So he got her the ring. He did the right proposal. He did all the good stuff. It's just so much pressure from the outside.
I agree with you. There were too many people influencing the way she was supposed to feel. And
Yes.
it's not how you're supposed to feel, it's just how you feel. And I feel like she does still love him. So I do want to take some time to talk about O shots. So I didn't know anything these O shots,
I
and
didn't either.
apparently vagina rejuvenation. It's like a shot that you get to retighten this area. I mean, just through use, I guess through
Yeah.
childbirth, use, and just the way the doctor explained it was such a weird analogy. She was like, she thought of a hot dog bun that was that sat outside, and I was like, this is the strangest health class I've ever been in, right? I was like, I've never heard anything explained this way before, but she was like, and you left it out, and then it hardened, and it's not ready for the hot dog, and I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever encountered, but.
Yeah.
The ladies are very brave because I saw this long needle and I saw it going, and I was like, see, there's no way in any type of money or world or anything that you could give me that I will let anyone go near any part of my body with that needle. So
Nope.
Darcey and Stacey, they took for the team, right? And Stacey even showed Florian, and Florian didn't really appreciate the phone call, the FaceTime call, to see that. He was like, is this what you're really calling to show me? You're trying to show me that you got an O shot? And I was like, some guys would have appreciated that, right?
I don't know. I think that it was that he didn't appreciate it. I think it was everybody else in the room filming it for him that had him bothered.
Yeah, it's probably, yeah, you're right. Because cultures are different. And a lot of times in other cultures, husbands definitely don't like their wives doing things with other people around unclothed. Yeah. So he might have looked at it as that is something very personal between us.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be other people in the room while you're doing that. Yes. And that might have been why, because I was like, well, I would appreciate my wife or fiance doing that for me. That's something that men will enjoy, and women have to go through pain to make it happen. So I would be appreciative. But I have to remember, everybody isn't from America. Everyone doesn't have the same cultural differences and beliefs that we have.
It's the doctor standing with your wife, sending you the you're like, okay, that's great. But then when it's 8 of your wife's friends standing there, you're going to be like, why is everyone in there with you?
That's true. All right. So in NYC, there's going to be a bachelor party. We kind of got the beginning of it. We didn't get all of it. We know that there's going to be a physical altercation between Michael Benz and Georgie. And it's funny because we were thinking that the physical altercation would probably be between Michael Benz and Florian, but that's not what happened. It's actually between Georgie and Michael Benz. And Georgie Michael felt that Georgie was being aggressive towards Darcey. He was complimenting her, touching her, petting her. I have to keep saying petting her, and just inserting himself in the situation. And I will say this, I think Georgie is probably there more so to get back with Darcey than to celebrate a bachelorette party, right?
He had to poke the bear, so to speak, by saying, he knew that Darcey went above and beyond planning this. So he had to insert himself and say, I'm going to plan you a real bachelor party, and we'll go to the real clubs and we'll do it like it's supposed to be. Just had to slide it in there, poke the bear some more. So he was trying to get under her skin there.
He wants her attention. I feel like he's not really doing anything to piss her off necessarily. He just wants to get her attention because she's been really good at not paying him any mind. And I feel like that's driving him crazy because he's really trying, and he does have his business off the ground, and he is doing a lot of the things that she said he needed to do. And he's kind of looking at it like, well, why aren't you noticing my work? Why aren't you taking notice to that I did the things you asked me to?
Yes. Well, it's just like going back to when they first met up in the restaurant and he had the jewelry for her. He thought that was like a good token to show you that I'm making an effort. And she took it as, you can't just buy me back, so
exactly.
They're definitely not on the
sale,
but they still have those deep-rooted feelings.
There's still time. They're still in NYC. There is still time to get back on the right track. And I know you are counting on that. You're counting on Darcey getting back with Georgie. I'm kind of against it, but I'm just for Darcey being happy. All right, guys, we've run out of time. Thank you so much to my co-host, Cara. I'm George Mossey. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com, and anywhere you get your podcast. This is the George Mossey Show, and we'll talk to you guys really soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.